I can't be bothered to do anything after spiritual awakening. This is the true story of how I lost all motivation, drive, and purpose after spiritual awakening, and the simple twist that let me finally break free. But I'll be honest with you, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is this is very common and it can feel terrible. The good news is it doesn't last forever and there is a way out. I'll share with you the big mistake that I made trying to get out of this dark period and what ultimately reinvigorated me back into the world without having to go back into separation. But first, this story starts with a dangerous fuse being lit. You see, spiritual awakening is similar to the journey of a firework or a rocket. The fuse of inquiry is lit and the seeking begins. We don't choose that as an individual. It is literally all that there is waking up to itself. And once that fuse is lit, it's inevitable what will happen next. Now, I'm saying this is dangerous because it's dangerous to the individual or the so-called individual. Because once this fuse has been lit, it leads to a series of events which lead to a realization that you unbecome what you never were and realize what you have always been. Now, shortly after that fuse of seeking has been lit, the rocket, the firework, shoots up into the sky. This is what we call the ascension phase. It's exciting, it's high energy, you're gaining new perspectives all the time. You might have many aha moments. You maybe look at things in a way you've never seen them before, almost as if you're looking through new eyes. As you shoot up into the night sky, there's then an explosion as the firework, the rocket explodes. This is the explosion or disappearing phase, as the old you is no more. You have this sense that everything is one. There is no individual. You are simultaneously everything, but also, from an individual point of view, absolutely nothing. Now, this can feel wondrous, it can feel ecstatic, it can feel terrifying, all at the same time. But it's not the end. After this explosion, there are still ashes, the remnants of your life, the remnants of what you used to call you before this fuse of spiritual inquiry was lit. But now that's been blown to pieces. You know you're not a separate individual. You know that there is only all that there is. There is this oneness. You recognize you are not limited to the body. You recognize you are not the mind. But as these ashes float to the ground, there's a sense of free fall. You feel discombobulated. You feel confused, overwhelmed, disorientated. And you try to grab onto anything for orientation, something solid. But there isn't anything solid anymore. You have nothing and no way to orient your life at this point. And thrashing around looking for something firm to grab onto, metaphorically, just creates more panic. But then everything begins to settle as you come back down to earth, literally. There are pieces of ash. The life that you had before is gone. And every drive and motivation you had before has gone as well. You feel like that engine that was inside your stomach that you could physically feel when you woke up every morning driving you forward. I need this, I must avoid this, I want this, I desire this. This is who I am, this is my identity, this is what I must uphold. That engine has been completely removed. So how do you move in life after this? What's going to move you? What's going to motivate you? Where does the energy come from? What's the point? So this is a very unsettling phase, this kind of limbo state where you've seen truth or you've glimpsed your true nature, but there's still residue of the old individual. To continue this analogy of the firework, you would look around on the ground, and while the rocket's gone and has just been blown to smithereens, you still notice a straight wooden stick. That's the stick that the rocket was launched up on. And that's the body-mind. It feels awkward to see that because it's still there, despite what you now know, and despite what you've seen, felt, and experienced. How can you possibly go about your life in the same way you used to? Now you know you're not what you thought you were. It changes everything. From the outside looking in, it can appear that nothing has changed. But you know. It cannot be unseen. You cannot reverse it, and you cannot go back. The engine that has been removed will not be put back, will not be repaired. It is gone forever. But the good news is something else can and will take its place. You see, what's happened here is there's been a movement of energy, a movement of wisdom and truth. Initially, that movement is down and into you. You literally take information into the body-mind. You take that energy in as the awakening begins. This is why during the initial phases of awakening, these energy disturbances can affect the body-mind. Your mind could be whirring all the time, your sleep could be changed and interrupted, your eating habits can change, your stomach and digestion can be affected, and you may feel hyper and energetic or super tired all the time during this high energy phase. Now, as all this inrush happens, it stirs up everything in the body-mind. And initially, that pales into insignificance because of the insights that you're receiving, because of the truth that you are glimpsing. But after that explosion, after that exhilaration phase, then the body-mind is all stirred up and it needs time to assimilate what has just happened. This can take months. It's like a snow globe inside the body-mind, and it's been shaken violently. But eventually, over time, it begins to settle. And once it's settled, a new energy, a new drive, a new engine, a new motivation and purpose arise within you. This is not an old engine that reflects the old identity or the old sense of being an individual and a separate person. This is a new drive and a new motivation that's imbued with the truth that you now know. For many months, I was in this limbo state of not having this new drive. And I was trying everything to get out of it. I just wanted to do nothing. So I started doing nothing, but very forcefully. Literally spending months at a time in my room doing nothing. I thought this was the right thing to do. I thought this would allow things to come to pass, allow things to assimilate and wait for a sign or wait for life to re-emerge. But actually, this is a subtle form of resistance. If you think of life, or all that there is, as a river, prior to awakening, I would always be trying to swim upstream against the river, against the current. I need to go over there. I need to fight against everything, fight against life, bend it to my will, achieve things, get things, become things, have things. After awakening, that of course fell away, never to return. But this period of doing nothing, while I felt that I was letting everything go and just waiting for things to happen, I was still in resistance. I wasn't swimming upstream, but I was standing in the river, holding my arms out against the flow, saying, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing nothing. Whereas really, I was forcibly resisting the flow. All I needed to do is completely let go and go with the flow. So not forcibly sit around doing nothing, but actually engage again with life for no purpose whatsoever. Not with any drive or goal or self-motivations, but literally because this is what life was calling me to do. And gradually, step by step, this reintegration with people, with community, with the world, led to a new drive, a new energy, and a new motivation that began to drive me forward. So if you feel you're stuck in this phase right now, just try to open up a little. Try to let go a little. And try to be with the flow. Be open and receptive to what's being asked of you in every present moment. And ultimately, this is the only way to move in the world with the truth you now know.